I was told by the powers that be, if we did this right, we could sell 100,000 copies in the first week. Only kidding. Thanks for listening in. This is Ravi Zacarias. May I share a couple of stories from recent ministry? One was in addressing the UN ambassadors in New York. The subject assigned was navigating with absolutes in a relativistic world. And that's early in the morning at a breakfast. But they were there. And the other caution was not to say much about religion because of the diverse faiths that would be represented. So I did get permission, at least to share a little bit of it in the tail end of my talk. I'd looked at 4 areas in which we search for absolutes: evil, justice, love, and then forgiveness. I was able to take them through those 4 issues and show how our lives struggle with them. And then I asked them this question: do you know what is the one event in the world where these 4 converged? Evil, justice, love, and forgiveness? I said it was in the cross of Jesus Christ. That cross, which stands so uniquely in history to explain these 4 struggles in our search for absolutes. They were lined up at the end of it. People of many faiths, just shaking hands. The president of the UN asked me if I'd come into his office and pray for his entire staff. You know, the gospel message is sublime. It's simple. It's penetrating in the hearts and minds of people where they are. Let me switch gears. Just a few weeks ago, I was invited to speak at the University of South Queensland in Australia. I was to speak on the problem of evil and suffering, opposing views from the Muslim scholar and the president of the Humanist Association there. In the Q&A time, somebody stood up and said, one of our great heroes, Steve Irwin, a naturalist, the one who worked with animals and so on, had just died. He said, what do the 3 of you have to say to his widow, his family, and his friends? The other answers were so irrelevant when you think of what they had to say. The humanist said, we just celebrate his past. That's all there is to it, and so on. I quoted from Annie Johnston Flint. He giveth more grace when the burdens grow greater. He sendeth more strength when the labors increase. To added affliction he addeth his mercy. To multiplied trials his multiplied peace. When we have exhausted our store of endurance, when our strength has failed ere the day's half done, when we reach the end of our hoarded resources, our Father's full giving has only begun. His love has no limit, His grace has no measure, His power has no boundaries known unto men. For out of His infinite riches in Jesus, He giveth and giveth and giveth again. I said to the audience, there are 3 or 4 groups of people who need an answer for this. One would have been for Steve himself, now for his immediate family and his loved ones. I said, but more importantly for you and for me, what are we doing with this grace that's offered to us, that is promised to sustain us? The answers of Christ stand in remarkable beauty in contrast to the other non-answers that really are there. And so in the book, Is God the Grand Weaver of Your Life? We're answering one of the deep questions of the soul. Is God really that grand weaver? Is He the architect? I've been asked this in so many ways, from the DNA which you and I possess, all the way to the grave. Who is behind the pattern? This book was a blessing to me as I wrote it. I hope it's a blessing to many as they read it. Thank you for your share in getting this into the hands of people. May God bless you.